Memphis, Tennessee is home to one of the most remarkable retail establishments in the United States, Bass Pro Shops at the Pyramid. This famous landmark, with its colossal building dominating the metropolis, invites explorers and inquiring minds. However, a fascinating and ambitious story hides beneath its majestic facade. Come with us on this journey as we explore the fascinating history of the Great American Pyramid, learning its mysteries and discovering what happened to a once-in-a-lifetime, groundbreaking endeavor. The idea for the three enormous steel pyramids that would line the Mississippi River originated with a local artist in the mid-1950s. Although it was just a lofty ambition back then, the idea's peculiar and alluring nature would lead to its revival more than 3 decades later with his son, John Brent Hart's. Memphis, Tennessee, the birthplace of the blues, presented a chance for John to revive his father's eccentric notion, thanks to the city's booming tourism economy. This led to the project's formal announcement in 1986. The Great American Pyramid's primary use was as a basketball arena with 20,000 seats. Nevertheless, a great deal more was involved. According to the concept drawings, this 330-foot-tall metal skyscraper was supposed to be situated just south of the city core and painted gold in the early project conceptions. There has already been an investment of approximately $150,000 for the feasibility study. A lot of people were excited when the proposal was being considered for municipal planning clearance. After all, it would have been a fantastic site for athletic events, and the Rooftop Hall of Fame Museum would have brought in hundreds of thousands of visitors. Total expenses were projected at roughly $60 million, the great bulk of it being taxpayer money, around $50 million worth of city cash. A further $10 million in private funding was also attained. The principal construction manager, Sidney Schlenker, was quoted in a story published in 1989 by the Daily News Journal. In his opinion, it is the most impressive structure to come out of Houston since the Astrodome, he added. This structure is going to serve as a memorial. You may compare it to the Eiffel Tower or the Statue of Liberty. Just recently, Disney and MGM completed a theme park based on popular media. Like the last one, this one will have a musical theme and function similarly. Those involved with the initiative clearly had a positive outlook. Cheops's pyramid was so massive that it sent shockwaves across the globe 5,000 years ago. There will be still more reason to be amazed shortly. A new marvel of the earth is on the horizon, and it will amaze humans. A resounding message will resound from the Mississippi River as it travels across countries and seas and finally reaches the skies. Admire the Great American Pyramid in all its amazing glory. After a very grand groundbreaking ceremony in September 1989, everything was finally in place, and work could begin. Even though it was the new decade, construction didn't stop until November 1991. Despite the unintentional flooding in the basement, the owners considered this a solid beginning, indicating initial optimism. Initially, progress seemed promising, especially with the stadium. However, it turned out to be the only structure completed. More than 150,000 square feet of the Memphis Pyramid remained unfinished on opening day, including planned spaces like the Hard Rock Cafe, Music Museum, and Observation Deck. Additionally, nearby Mud Island was slated for transformation into a music theme park. In order to complete these crucial initiatives, Sidney Schlenker stated that an additional $50 million, which appeared to be private funding, would need to be invested in the building project. But he was let go in June, just before the big launch, and his management firm declared bankruptcy due to their $16 million in debt. But this didn't stop the owners from advertising the empty space for rent. The stadium was quite successful during the following decade, as efforts were made to routinely fill the arena. Home to the University of Memphis Tigers for 12 basketball seasons, as well as the first and second rounds of the NCAA tournament. Famous athletes like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan played at this stadium, which was the biggest venue in the region. On the other hand, the pyramid played host to several concerts with legendary musicians such as Metallica, Billy Joel, Pearl Jam, Bob Dylan, Guns N' Roses, and countless more. Not only that, but the Memphis Pyramid was the site of the world-renowned boxing match between Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson, which drew celebrities from across the globe and was possibly the most famous event in Memphis's history due to its unusual setting. In spite of this fame, though, problems with the stadium were still on the horizon. Despite the venue's unconventional design for a stadium, many lauded its distinctive architecture, which presented certain challenges. It was already difficult for technicians to deal with the acoustics due to the massive amount of space between the stage and the seats below. The pyramid was dubbed the Tomb of Doom by NBA players because of the fearsome enormity of the expansive expanse above. The finished project also failed to impress the locals. Do you recall the Great American Pyramid, which was supposedly going to replace the Statue of Liberty as the Midwest's most recognizable landmark and the world's next great wonder? As news spread that government funds had gone toward building a gigantic steel pyramid smack dab in the midst of Memphis, Tennessee, public support for the master project swiftly waned. During this whole period, the tourist component of the pyramid remained dormant and undeveloped. In the early 2000s, Memphis began to court a professional basketball franchise with the hopes of relocating their home games to the pyramid. In the midst of another $250 million arena being constructed a mile south of the pyramid, the city negotiated a 3-year contract with the Grizzlies, who were the center of attention. In preparation for hosting a top NBA team, the event venue, which is around 7 years old, was renovated to the tune of $7 million. But after the team began playing there, the facility started losing money, so the enthusiasm quickly faded. As a result of the Grizzlies keeping all of the proceeds from ticket sales per the city's agreement, the Memphis Pyramid reportedly lost almost $200,000 by 2002. After a significant drop in the number of events hosted at the venue, the rent alone from the team wasn't enough to cover the losses. The Grizzlies made the scheduled transfer to the newly opened FedEx Forum in September, and the new stadium opened to the public. The Memphis Pyramid has been losing money at an alarming rate and now had no regular tenants. At this point, municipal officials were arguing over whether to shut it down permanently. The facility's continued operation will cost the city more than $1.6 million, according to council members. In the end, the decision came down to, but others thought a committee should investigate potential new uses for the area. A tangled mess. The municipal council finally decided to keep it open, despite the heated debate around the subject. Unfortunately, the number of events held in the pyramid was restricted due to a non-compete provision, as there was a larger, more contemporary stadium just a few streets away. Midway through the 2000s, the Memphis Pyramid was only utilized sporadically. On February 3, 2007, it hosted Bob Seger's farewell show. Bob Seger's farewell show also served as the formal farewell of the Memphis Pyramid. Shortly thereafter, the structure was sealed and left unattended for all time. The interior was meticulously preserved as the city explored other development prospects. One unusual bidder was Bass Pro Shops, a brand of outdoor gear retailers famous for its ultra-themed megastores. It was announced that they will be leasing the building and transforming it into a megastore with entertainment elements. The details of the transaction were still up in the air, but they did say that over $75 million would be committed to make their wild vision a reality. Because of the sluggish pace of construction, the Memphis Pyramid remained empty and unused for most of that period. With disintegrating concrete and vegetation penetrating the cement entranceways, the worn structure's facade gave the impression of neglect. The structure was obviously in a precarious situation. Yet, it would still serve as a striking marker for anybody unfamiliar with a huge abandoned steel pyramid smack dab in the center of their city. The extremely bizarre nature of the abandoned structure apparently sparked conspiracy theories, most notably, and I assure you, this is not an exaggeration, Alex Jones's assertion that the developers, who were members of a cult, placed a crystal skull atop the pyramid to ward off bad luck. The Memphis Pyramid seems to stand for the New World Order and the Illuminati's hidden messages. Obviously, with the exception of the skull, all of his claims here are false. It seems that a crystal skull was discovered welded to the very top of the Hard Rock Cafe in 1991, shortly after it debuted. The CEO of the chain purportedly put it there for good luck. Indeed, it is peculiar and raises the question of whether all Hard Rock cafes on Earth have skulls fastened to their walls. In any case, that strange fact attracted even more strange stuff, with other crazy people speculating that the structure is a devil's palace or whatever. It's likely religiously motivated, yet they're saying complete rubbish. By the way, Bass Pro Shops in the city struck a contract on June 30th, 2010, with the city investing an additional $30 million into the new project. In the 2 years that followed, the 20,000-seat stadium was reduced to its concrete shell, while the pyramid was gutted. The entranceways and deteriorating pathways on the outside were also demolished. The inside of the Bass Pro Shop, which would later become a wilderness adventure store, was being built at the same time, with intricate themes. The formal grand opening of the Bass Pro Shops at the Pyramid took place on April 29, 2015. The brand's final product, when contained in what it was quite ridiculous. A man-made swamp has replaced the hardwood flooring of the basketball court. It features artificial cypress trees, a large water feature with a dock and boats and fishing opportunities, a bowling alley, and a restaurant all in one building. In addition to the usual fare of a Bass Pro Shop, this location offers archery range time, pistol shooting, and a museum dedicated to duck hunting. The strangeness doesn't end there, though. A hotel encircles the whole commercial center. There are 103 rooms at the Big Cypress Lodge, and for around $200 per night, you can get a room with a view of the stores below. From below, you can still make out the outline of the old grandstands, thanks to the concrete frames that were salvaged and used to construct the hotel. When we talk about the peak, we mean the top of the pyramid, which is now a restaurant and bar with an observation deck. Great views of Memphis and the Mississippi River may be had from the two overhanging balconies that Bass Pro Shops built to the building by extending the glass from the top. You may reach the top by using the world's longest freestanding elevator, which winds its way up 28 stories straight through the center of the building. Over 1 million individuals had passed through the mall and entertainment complex in the span of only 4 months. What matters most, though, is the property's appeal as a tourist and entertainment destination. Recall that when it was initially imagined, this was all a part of the blueprint, an unconventional structure housing must-visit attractions and experiences. It was never intended that the stadium would be the sole attraction. Having said that, that is exactly what transpired. The Memphis Pyramid was useless in isolation. Many had hoped that the pyramid would become a renowned tourist destination, but the undeveloped amusement areas were never used. With inflation factored in, almost $130 million had already been doled out by the city. For a project that, in all honesty, never quite lived up to expectations and failed to accomplish its stated goals. In addition, the Temple of Doom was effectively undermined since public funds were used to support yet another new stadium across the city. Whatever odd it may seem, the Bass Pro Shop within the pyramid eventually accomplished its goal of filling in those blanks and piquing the interest of city tourists in the mystery of that massive pyramid. I know it did for me, and as someone who appreciates excellent theming and distinctive structures, I found it to be quite enjoyable, and I am optimistic about its future success. However, I will never get tired of reading about the weird pyramid's history and how it led to an outdoor shop acquiring what is arguably the most un-American outdoor emblem imaginable. If you enjoyed the story of the Memphis Pyramid, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to share your thoughts or any future topic ideas by leaving a comment. See you in the next video.